Hi, everybody. Thank you for joining us. And we have Stephanie Chico with us, which I'm so excited about. She's like our grandma coach, or like, yeah, you mean grandma. So she is my coach, Megan Tucker's personally sponsored coach. We've got some, is that for me? Is it echoing, you guys? No? Okay, it sounds echoey to me. So I'm just going to turn it on over to Stephanie, and she's got some tips for us today.
Hey guys, I'm super excited to spend Sunday evening, afternoon, depending on where you are, with you guys. I'm excited to kind of talk about this topic too, because I feel like this is a fun group of people. Not that all coaches aren't fun to talk to, you know what I mean, but just that higher level, you guys are pushing for that really big milestone in your business, and to me that's really exciting. So I kind of wanted to just back up, and since I don't know all of you really well, I thought I would kind of tell my story a little bit and talk to you about how I actually pushed for Diamond this time of year also, so I can totally relate to where you're at in your business, because that's where I was 3 years ago, which is crazy to think about. But so I signed up as a coach in October of 2012, and I went Emerald probably just like a lot of you guys did, within my first month. I think it took me 3 weeks. I signed up my husband, signed up a friend, and they went on the same leg. They both went on my week leg. And then the coach that made me Emerald was my best friend, Paige Casto. And so it took me 3 coaches to go Emerald. And so that happened within my first month, October 2012. From then on, it was kind of slow going for me because I didn't really know what I was doing, which maybe you guys can relate to that. Brandy Botts is my coach who sponsored me into the business, and she was pretty new in the business also, and we didn't have things like Coach Basics, and we didn't have really anything other than challenge groups. That was kind of our bread and butter, and just how we all got started. Everybody started in the challenge group, and then you sort of figured it out from then on. So it was all sort of a learning curve when we were getting started, and it didn't really click for me until December 2012, when I had hit Success Club, October, November, and then December rolled around, and slow season happened, and it was Christmas and 3 little ones, and people got sick, and it was just, I sort of had every excuse in the book as to why I didn't really have to work the business. I just didn't make it a priority, although at that time, looking back, it was probably one of our most stressful, scary Christmases because we had no income. And so if I had just kind of upped my game a little bit and tried a little bit harder, I could have really used the business for my family. But it was a good lesson to learn. And I just didn't like the feeling of ending that month not hitting that goal of Success Club 5. I think I ended with like 3 or 4 points. And it was like enough that it just sparked something in me that I thought, that's it. I'm going to do this thing. I don't like that feeling. I'm going to go all in. And so I set the crazy goal to go Diamond by my 3-month mark. You guys may have heard this by now, that I was like, okay, I want to be Diamond in my first 90 days. So that was January 11th or something like that. And so just shy of that 90-day mark, at 88 days, I went Diamond by the grace of God. I'm not really sure how I pulled it off, other than the fact that marking a date on the calendar was probably one of the most powerful things that happened for me, and has continued to be. I have a whiteboard in front of me, and I set a goal every single month. I give myself a date when I want to be at Success Club, by what date, when I want to rank advanced, by what date. And just for me personally, breaking down those specific goals is really needed, because otherwise we can set these lofty goals and think, eventually by 2016 I'll be Diamond for sure, and things just don't happen unless we put a really specific goal date on it. So the fact that you guys have all shown up on a Sunday and you're really plugging in and wanting to make this work is step one, obviously. And you guys probably have a date. I think you're all pushing for the November 18th date. And so that is like putting that on the calendar, putting it out into the universe and manifesting that shit is probably the most powerful thing you guys can do for your business. And that's step one for sure. The other things that I want to kind of bring up, because like I said, this is a higher level Zoom and you guys are a group of leaders in the making. You're going to be 2016 leaders in your own team within Courtney and Liz and Danielle's team. And so that's a really big deal. And so them working really closely with you guys in a group like this is really special, because this is how me and my leaders got started together. We would do these Zooms together. We all pushed together. And then it became, okay, we're all equals now. Let's push together and do this, and push to that next level. So that's really exciting. And so one of the things that I remember thinking, well, when I'm diamond, I'm going to make way more money. And so that's one little myth that I kind of want to put out of your minds right now. There's nothing magical that happens overnight when you hit diamond financially. I think that was one of the misconceptions I had. And I'm not telling you that to disappoint you and make you think that diamond isn't exciting. But what happens when you do hit diamond is this ripple effect that's even greater than thinking that money is just going to fall from the sky. What happens is your coaches see you hit diamond and realize that it's a doable goal. Like, it's an attainable thing. So-and-so did it, so now I can do it. And so then I do it, and then my coach is going to do it. And it's this ripple effect that happens. And so, yeah, you might not wake up that Thursday morning on your first day of being diamond and make $100 more than you did last week. Maybe you will, maybe you won't. But what happens in those next 2, 5, 6 months is something huge. It's this ripple effect, and it's this leadership culture that starts to happen. And team culture, you guys are probably really familiar with that. I think our whole entire team has something so special. And so what all of us are a part of is not just like you become diamond and you're somebody else's diamond. When you become diamond, you're a leader within your own team. And Courtney can't lead your coaches the way that you can lead your coaches. And Danielle can't lead your coaches the way that you can. And Liz can't lead your coaches the way that you can, because those people trusted you to sign, and they signed up with you. They didn't sign up with your leaders that have you on the Zoom tonight. They trust you. When they see you hit that first major milestone, I'm telling you, it's like a game changer for people. And that's totally what happened with my first 5 diamonds myself. It was, they saw me do it and they thought, okay, well, I'm going to do that. And that's how elite happens. And so your coaches who are pushing for elite, who have you on this Zoom, it's not a goal for them. It's a goal for you guys, because then next year you get to go elite. And then the following year, your coaches get to go elite with you. And so it's this really powerful thing that happens when the person that brought me into the business did it. I was like, well, I could do that. It's not looking at the Lindsay Matt ways of the business and thinking, well, that's fine, but that happened for her because X, Y, Z. No, it's the person you know personally who sponsored you into the business hitting that first goal, and you're like, wow, I could totally do that. So it's just always that next step in your business. Another thing I wanted to bring up too was, this time of year, you guys are probably experiencing little lulls or valleys or whatever you want to call them in your business, where people are maybe going inactive. Maybe they're quitting, or people are starting to whine about the fact that hitting Success Club is hard right now. And it is. And we do have to be really sympathetic to that, because we're all feeling that. But I think what happens too is that we get to a point where we can all push together, and you guys pushing and setting these goals and showing your team that you're doing it is going to set that tone for them. And I want to also talk about how your first 8 coaches, when you guys go diamond, I think that what happens too is that next step, right when you hit diamond, is like, okay, this is it. This is my team. Now Shelly's going to go diamond and Susie's going to go diamond, and this is the team, and we're all going to stay together. I think probably out of my original Diamond Business Center, I have like 3 coaches still with me, and that's including my husband. And so it's kind of eye-opening. Like, on the one hand, maybe that feels sad, but I think on the other hand, what that should tell you is that there is a whole world that's about to open up right on the other side of this diamond milestone. You think that you have your whole team right here with you, but you haven't even met your future leaders yet. And that is so exciting for me. Like, every month I'm like, who am I going to meet this month? Like, who's going to be my leader, that my diamond in the rough that I meet on social media, or wherever I meet them. And they're my new rock star, my new go-getter. And so that's what's exciting. That's why we don't slow down. And so sometimes what happens is we tend to go into management mode. We hit diamond and we're like, okay, make sure all my ducklings are, still in line with me. And we start to kind of slow down and lose sight of our own goals. But what happens, or what should happen, is that our team really needs to see us still push. And so I just think that diamond is like, it's more than what we build it up to be in this business. We think that the rank advancement post on Thursday, the day you go diamond, is like the thing to work for. But I'm telling you, what happens after is the biggest part of it. It's the ripple effect. It's the leadership that starts to happen. It's once you hit diamond, you help your first diamond go diamond, and then you go 1-star, and then you're pushing for 2-star, and you get that first quarterly bonus. And so not only does the ripple effect happen, but that's also how team volume really happens. And so probably within my the first 3 months, so it took me 3 months to hit diamond, and probably by month 12, I would have to pull up my income, but just to kind of give you an example, between the time I went diamond and then the following year, so a year from going diamond, I was making 6 figures. And the way we break that down is $2,000 a week in income. And so what happened at diamond was maybe like $100 to $200 per week. And then that next 12 months, it's like everything just opened up. The gates just opened because of that ripple effect. And so we think that diamond is like that end all be all, but it's really the start of something really special. So if I can do anything, is just get you guys so excited about what you're pushing for. It's not just this end date, November 18th, cool, I did it. It doesn't end there. It's just getting started. So we always say, like, this is the beginning now. And then you hit 2-star and it's like, now this is the beginning. And then you hit 5-star and this is the beginning. And that is a really cool, exciting part of this business, is that it's always fresh and new. So there's always a new benchmark that we're hitting, and we get to push forward and see that next benchmark. And so I just want you guys to be so excited, because this is that time of year. This is where the girls are separated from the women, if you know what I mean. And it's like, if we can push through and be really strong this time of year and hit those goals that we're setting, then we get rewarded in January and February. And to go into the new year as a brand new diamond is so huge, because your coaches are going to hit January running with you. And just imagine what can happen in a couple of months after January rolls around. So big things, and November 18th is like just the start of it. So I don't want to ramble on too much, but if you guys have questions, or if we want to, I don't know what you want to do, Court. You want me to keep going, or?
And I can go through the list of questions, and that'll probably turn into some other stuff okay. So the first one I have is, she said she'd love to hear you break down your day. What are your daily go-tos for a power hour? How do you balance helping your team and working on your business?
That's a good question. And I want to say that I'm super organized and every single day looks exactly the same, but it doesn't. And to me, I think the way that my business has evolved is, and you guys probably feel this a little bit too, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're all kind of like running. And then, Thursday, Friday, we sort of slow down a little bit. I would say early on in my business, I didn't maybe feel that Thursday and Friday was a time to slow down or anything. But I think that I sort of move with the trend of like, just like Facebook, Fridays are kind of a quieter day. So I'm not hitting social media quite as hard on Fridays. And that's kind of the trend that I see in like team pages, is that we're a little bit quieter on Fridays. So that might be a really good day to schedule yourself for really expanding your network on Instagram and, Facebook like page and stuff like that. But really what I like to do is, my power hour is returning messages. That's a big one for me. And it's usually the frog on my list, because it can be kind of daunting opening up that inbox and like getting through it. And as you guys grow as leaders too, you'll find that a lot of your inbox is going to be coach questions. And so that can be daunting sometimes. But The way that I like to look at that is an inbox full is a blessing, and I'm grateful for that. So I try and really start my day like that. And then obviously like checking into challenge groups, I check in as soon as I get my workout done. So that can be in the beginning of the day or in the afternoon a lot of the time. I'd love to be one of those morning workout people. And then I try and really plan out my social media day. I mean, that's a really big part of it for me because a lot of it these days is attraction marketing, stuff like that. So I try and really make sure that I've got some good social media posts planned. And I really actually go a lot of the time with like Motivation Monday, Transformation Tuesday, Woman Crush Wednesday. Like I use those, and those are really helpful for me to come up with good content. And I'm always really trying to paint the picture of the business and the opportunity and things like that. And then, yeah, just showing up in the team pages. You guys see me in the big Team Fitspiration page. I'm not as present in there as I used to be because it's just a lot bigger and we have some amazing leaders. You know, you guys all have it handled in your own team pages. So I've actually got a separate group, much smaller scale for like my 2014, 2015 coaches. And so I'm in there at least once a day. That's just, I always try and show up in there. Whether it's coming up with, you know, a new flyer that they can post for the newer coaches who like, you know, they have a harder time coming up with ideas to promote challenge groups or sneak peek into coaching groups. And so setting those things up, like giving people a good opportunity to plug their prospective coaches into things and giving ideas. Motivation, that's a big one. I just think people love getting motivated, especially on Mondays. Sharing like good YouTube videos, those like Gary Vaynerchuk videos. And so that's pretty much it. Yeah, it's really, you guys will feel this too. I think it really becomes more of a 50-50 focus. You really want to give your team like a good chunk of your focus, but then you've also got to really stay in the trenches building your business. And so however that works in your power hour for you, or if you spread your power hour throughout the day, I just think it's really different for everybody, but that's kind of how my day looks. It's kind of spread out and random, but I hope that helps answer that question.
I think that was great. Okay, the next one was any insights to make strong, independent coaches? I feel like I'm still learning and I'm walking a fine line between overwhelming them with too much information or not giving enough information.
Yeah, that's honestly just, that's part of the gig. I really think that is, I think a good leader does question themselves like that. And so we're always going to have those, you know, the questions about how to balance it. And the best advice that I can give is when somebody is not meeting you halfway, they're sort of pulling back, you can sort of feel their energy like backing off a little bit from coaching. Obviously we never give up on anybody, but it's sort of a bless and release thing, especially this time of year. You have to protect your own mindset and your own motivation, your own energy, all of it. And so pushing the people who don't want to be pushed or who aren't meeting you halfway with their effort, my best advice is give them a little space and don't take it personally, because we are just not responsible for everybody's experience. That was really great advice given to me a couple of years ago, and it's helped me so much. It's like my mantra when I'm frustrated with a coach who's maybe slowing down a little bit. I'm like, I'm not responsible for this person's experience. You know, we are, at the end of the day, we're all business owners. And so there's a fine line for sure between me coaching and me leading, but then them working their own business. You know, nobody did it for you guys, and so you can't do it for those people. So, and then at the end of the day, it's keep recruiting new coaches. I mean, that's really what it boils down to also, because you just want to really buffer yourself with those people who are going to go inactive and they are going to quit. That's just part of it. And you have to sort of put that wall up between you and those people who are backing off and just say, it's okay. You know, you're not part of my tribe. That's all right. I still love you. But I can't be sad. I'm going to go find people who want to do this. And then when those people are meeting you halfway and you're running together, that's really like an exciting part of the business. And one thing too, I'll add there is just that setting that expectation up front with a new coach. One thing in my About Me form that I have them fill out is like, what kind of coach are you going to be? what kind of coach do you want to be? So if you're going to be the full-time all-in coach, I want to change my life, I want to make this my full-time income, I know that I need to run with this person. If you're wanting to be a part-timer, maybe like sell a challenge pack here and there, but just kind of have fun, I know that I don't need to be chatting with this person every single day and like put a ton of effort in. They're in the team page. They know that if they want to change their focus and they want to be an all-in coach, then they can be down the line. And then you've got your people who are just the hobby coaches who want to get the results and who don't want to work the business at all. I know that I can plop them in a challenge group. If I'm showing up, they're going to be, motivated by that, but I don't need to like make sure they're getting all these training materials. So that's kind of helped me too, to narrow down who to focus on. Just asking right up front, what do you want to get out of this business? Okay, here's what you're going to get from me. So that's helped a little bit.
Awesome. I think it's great tips. Okay, so this one I think kind of goes along with that. And she asked, how do you motivate your personally sponsored coaches? So maybe, I guess you could tie into that if you ever, if you do sort of like promotions for your personally sponsored coaches sometimes during the months, or anything you do.
Yeah, I do with like my PS coaches every month. For my Success Club earners, they get a little goodie in the mail, and they kind of know that. I pulled back away from that for a little while because I started to feel like the wrong people were motivated by the wrong things. And so I sort of had to be careful with bribery, like I'll give you this prize if you hit Success Club, because that's just not what it's about. So I kind of just don't tell them, and I pop something in the mail. But I think that they sort of know that they get this goodie in the mail now. But beyond that, it's really just like, I just try and feel what the need is. This month, we finished October. I feel like, I personally felt like with my PS coaches, morale was a little bit low. Some people who were pushing for Emerald didn't hit Emerald. Some people were pushing for Diamond, didn't hit Diamond. And so I wanted to roll into November kind of fresh with a clean slate. And so I started just a challenge group with just my coaches and their coaches. And it's been so good. And it's just kind of flipped the focus away from like rank and, that type of thing, to just really staying consistent with their own goals. And also we're going to start a 3-day refresh group. That was another thing that I felt like, okay, we've got all these inactive coaches, they're probably wanting to delay their Shakeology right now or whatever's going on because of the holidays. And so that was one of the things we brought up was, let's do a 3-day refresh group, and people can invite their customers or whoever, stay active. The coach can stay active. They can make a little commission with, selling a refresh, and it just kind of boosts that morale again, takes the focus away from, the day-to-day, the daily grind, and they can put their focus on something else. So it's just kind of trying to stay creative and give people what I feel like I would want if I was going through that same struggle. Hope that makes sense.
Yes, totally. I just took some notes because I like okay, the next one was, she says, what can I do to help my PS coaches rank advanced to Emerald? And I think maybe what she means by that also is really helping them understand the benefits. We run the Push to Emerald groups, and you can talk to them about, I guess maybe communicating the benefits of signing up a spouse or a family member to get yourself there.
Yeah, I think that definitely, like, we used to be able to say that when you hit Emerald, then you get leads. You have to work a little bit harder for leads these days once you hit Emerald. So what I did was, as a brand new coach, we Googled, Matt and I sat on the couch and Googled like, Beachbody ranks or whatever. And we found this thing called, Jason Diebold made it. He's been a coach for like 7-8 years now. And it was something like I'll send you the link, Courtney. It was something like the rank calculator or something like that. But anyway, it really broke down, let's say you sign up your husband and your mom as coaches, because that's our U+2. This is what you would invest, in XYZ dollar amount. It's really good. And then how long it would take you to make back that investment and then some, just by hitting Success Club. And those were the types of things that motivated me when I really saw things broken down. That's numbers kind of motivate me, even though I'm not a math person, go figure. But maybe try and figure out like what that person's why is. And that obviously that's going to take a little bit of time and digging and one-on-one time. But really find out what that person wants out of the business. And if they do just want to be a hobby coach, you're not going to motivate them to be Emerald, and you've got to go recruit more people and help them be Emerald. But if they are an all-in coach and they really, really want to work this business full-time and get the most out of it, and they want to make money for their family, and they want to replace their husband's income, or they want to help make their car payment, you can reverse engineer that specific goal for them. And I think that really makes it a little bit more personal and meaningful when you're saying, look, I know what you want out of this business, and I know that this is going to help catapult you to that goal. And so it does take a little bit more time and one-on-one time for us as leaders to do that. But I think that that's when people get most motivated by a goal like that.
All right. Okay. This one is a little confusing, I think, but hopefully this will make sense. She says, when a coach you have sponsored becomes inactive, what happens in regards to my business and theirs? And does this happen to others? So I'm thinking she wants to know, like maybe if somebody's inactive, has people ordering under them, and, how it affects her business and also their business.
Yeah. I mean, it will only affect your business if like you've got your minimum of 8 coaches and your 2 Emeralds, and then one of your coaches goes inactive, you're going to drop out of Diamond for sure. Otherwise it's not going to matter. So that's kind of the thing about continuing to move your business forward. I like to just tell myself, like, every month you're going to have inactive coaches, Stephanie, and that means that you've got to keep sponsoring. And so there's never been a month in my business that I haven't sponsored new coaches. And that's just kind of part of it. And that's how we protect ourselves from having inactive coaches, because it's not like they're bad people. They're canceling their Shakeology and they're horrible people that they're doing that. That it's maybe just part of their journey they need to be inactive right now for whatever reason. So as long as we're kind of continuing to move forward, it's not going to affect us at all. And a lot of the time, I mean, I've had coaches go inactive, and then 2 months later, they're like, okay, I'm ready to do this. And then boom, 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 they're all in. So it's just kind of staying patient with people, letting them know that you care. You can always bring it up to them, because sometimes what happens is their credit card number changes. They get a new debit card and they don't realize that they weren't billed because Coach Relations tried to bill their account and they have a new card. And so their Shakeology didn't go through. So you can always bring it up to them like, hey, I just noticed that you're projected to be inactive this week. Just wanted to make sure everything was okay. If you're not liking your Shakeology, maybe I can suggest a new flavor or something like that, where you're just letting them know that you care and that it's not about you and your goals. It's like, what's going on with you and how can I help? But yeah, it's not going to affect your business. It doesn't affect their business either. The only thing with a coach going inactive, let's say they have, if they can still actually continue to earn commission, even if they're inactive themselves. So they still, because if Beachbody, this is a kind of eye-opening thing. I learned this with all the compliance changes, but if Beachbody made it so that coaches couldn't earn any income when they're inactive, that would be illegal. So it would be against whoever the people are that police, multi-level marketing companies. And so you can go inactive and still make a paycheck. So, just FYI. But if, let's say, they're an Emerald coach or they're a Ruby coach or Diamond or whatever, they're not going to earn team cycle bonuses. So that's the one thing. You can't earn bonuses if you're inactive. So that could be something, if you're working with an Emerald who's going inactive, you can always say, like, look, I'm just looking out for you. I don't want you to lose your team cycle bonuses if they've got any volume. So things like that. But I hope I answered that question. Let me know.
You did. Okay. And I think I'll just touch on that a little bit, just so you guys know, if you do have somebody that decides to cancel, a coach cancels, what happens with their coaches and their customers is they're going to roll automatically to you. So if that person was on your left leg, and let's say they did have 2 coaches and they canceled, those 2 coaches will be placed on your left leg, and any of their customers will now show up in your customer list too. So just kind of a side note that you might not have known.
Yeah.
Okay. What do you do to keep pushing forward when the times get difficult and all you seem to hear was no?
Personal development. I mean, really, like, it sounds so cheesy, and I was probably one of the biggest, like, I don't think I was like outwardly skeptical about it. I was just like, well, I don't need that. I'm fine, you know? But really I'm Colleen Curtis, who guest spoke on a webinar a couple months ago, said it best. It's our insurance policy. We're business owners and we're in business for ourselves, you know, like, really you're building, yes, we have an amazing team, but like your team members are building their own businesses too. And so it can feel lonely. It can feel like people are quitting on you and like you're pushing so hard and you're not seeing the reward yet. But to get through and not to go there in your mind, you've got to just be doing personal development and get an accountability partner and a success partner, whatever you want to call it, and have somebody that can, you know, talk you down from the ledge when you need it. That is like priceless in this business, to have that, you know, to have your person that you can really talk to and just work through things with and vent to and laugh with and things like that. So, and lean on your team. Like, I think that sometimes people tend to retreat. They just kind of get quiet when things get frustrating. They're like, well, you know, I'm not even going to try anymore. And they don't say anything. But you got to be vocal about that, because chances are other people on your team are struggling with the same thing. And something powerful happens when you can work together and figure it out and give suggestions and stuff like that. So yeah, just and go work out. Like, that's another form of personal development. I have coaches come to me and they're super frustrated, and I'm like, when was the last time you worked out? Because I haven't seen you post anything fitness related. And sometimes that can be, I mean, you guys try it out. Don't work out for a week and see how you react to negative things coming your way. It's like, it's true. That is part of like our insurance policy too, as coaches. We've got to stay really consistent with those behaviors because it makes you happy. That's really it. So stay happy. That's how I do it.
Very true. Okay, I have one more, and that was it was a question about volume and legs. And this person had heard kind of contradictory things, whether ideally do you want your volume to be equal on both legs, or do you want the volume to be double as high on one leg than the other? Does that make sense?
Yeah. Both are great. Like, I think it just really depends on like where you're at in your, you know, in the downline and where you see your volume. So it's really going to be just different for everybody. Like for me personally, I have a really strong leg and then a much weaker leg. And so I've built differently than somebody who's got really even legs. Either way though, there's actually benefits to both. I wouldn't say like either one is better or worse. The one thing about even legs is as they build, first of all, you can build for rank and for income. So you're kind of lucky in that way. You can, you know, if you've got even legs, you can be like, well, I need a diamond over here and I need a diamond over here. And you can kind of flip flop back and forth and you can push for 10 star or 15 star and it makes perfect sense. Whereas somebody with really strong legs, like for me, I took a whole year off from building for rank because I really needed to focus on volume. So it's just really different for everybody. And then the other thing with having even legs is it's hard to explain, but if you've got a strong leg, every week you're going to have volume go into your carryover account, which is great. It's good to have that carryover, but if you've got a really strong leg, you're essentially never going to take advantage of that extra volume that's in your bank on your strong leg. But when you've got even legs, each week what's going to happen is you're going to have carryover from this week, and then you'll use it next week. And then you'll have carryover from this week that you'll use next week. And so you'll always use up every bit of volume. So that's the kind of cool part about this business is that really either way, there's no bad thing. Like when you've got a strong leg, you can build for volume and make your weak leg. If you're pouring all of your effort into your weak leg, you can make your income grow very quickly. And then if you've got even legs, you can build even across the board for range and for volume, and have the same outcome too. So either way, you're in a really good place. I hope that makes sense too.
Can I ask a question real quick?
Yeah.
Can you quickly just elaborate on what you did for that? You said you took a year off, because I'm in the same boat. I am struggling really, really bad with my weak leg, and I'm sure there's a lot of people who have that problem. And it's like, everybody talks about rank, but it's like, my volume on my weak leg is so poor. It's like, I don't feel right not solely focusing on that weak leg, but that means I'm going to completely sacrifice rank advancing. What did you do during that year that you said you did not focus on rank, but you focused on your volume?
So first I went 5-star. That was my tunnel vision focus, get to 5-star, and for me, I whoopsie, made the mistake of putting my 3 strongest diamonds on my strong leg. So on my already strong leg, I'm putting 3 really high volume producing coaches on my strong. So, that didn't help me. And then I had 2 diamonds on my weak leg, which was great. So I was 5-star. After that point, I had opened up my second business center, and I had Matt on my weak leg. And I really, really focused on building both of those business centers. And so getting Matt to diamond, and my second CBC was on Matt's weak leg. So you've got me, and then you've got Matt, and then you had my second CBC on his inside leg. So he sort of had a leg building, and then I built his inside leg, which built our income a lot. So he's got a pretty great income with his business center. And just really focusing on building underneath my second business center. Now, that didn't mean that I only sponsored in my second business center, because you guys probably know that you can go into the graphical genealogy and go under, click down all the way and place the coach wherever you want. You can set that preferred placement, wherever you want it. So I would sponsor a coach on Matt's weak leg. I would put that person under my second business center. If I was sponsoring a coach in my first business center, they went on my weak leg under my second business center. If I sponsored in my second business center, it was obviously going in my second business center. So everything went under my second business center, which was on my weak leg. And so that's all I did for a whole year. I didn't put any coaches on my right leg at all. Everybody went on my left. Yes, that crushed my ego a little bit, because I wanted to be, whatever rank. But it was the best decision. It was a conscious effort to really build. And now, granted, I was 5-star, and then getting my second business center diamond made me 6-star, and then Matt getting to diamond made me 7. So I still got to rank advance, so, and you definitely want to keep a good padding and good buffer on your strong leg at all times. So for me, those 3 strong coaches on my strong leg, that was a huge blessing in the end, in the big picture of things, because I didn't have to worry about them ever dropping out of diamond. If you've got maybe the flip-flop version of that, where you've got diamonds who maybe aren't really, really strong recruiters or anything like that, you want to make sure that every once in a while you're popping a new coach on that strong leg, just so if they go diamond, then you've got that extra diamond just in case. So you never drop below 5-star. That was always I wanted to stay at 5-star, so I could be elite, so I could get the 5-star quarterly bonus. And, just did everything I could on my weak leg. Does that make sense, Liz?
A lot, yes, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, and I do have one more actually. Stephanie, when you started out, what were your goals for SC monthly, and then also for recruiting new coaches monthly? What was your goal that maybe your first year, and then your second year, and then your third year?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I like that one, because I think that it shows how you can evolve in your business, and how you not to play small. Because I think that a lot of time was spent telling myself, it's okay that I'm not a Success Club 10 earner. because look what I've been able to accomplish by just hitting Success Club 5. And that saying is true, that what got you here isn't going to get you there. And so my first year in the business, I hit Success Club 5, and some months I really hustled for those 6 points, like really. But I always aimed for, Success Club, period. Some months I hit 10, like for sure there were months that I had, really great Success Club numbers. And I always, really, because I think the business and the financial part of this business was such a huge focus for me. I was always really trying to recruit coaches. I've never been much of a retail person. I definitely have always run challenge groups, and I've always had challenge groups running. But I would say that the biggest part of my Success Club points came from recruiting coaches. So probably my first year, it was like recruiting 2 coaches a month, 2 plus, because some months it was 4, and then in my second year, I was elite, and I realized I needed to really up my game a little bit. And so Success Club 10 became the goal every month. Sometimes I would hit 8, but I always aimed for 10. And probably my second year, my goal was to sponsor 4 coaches at least every single month. And some months it was 6, but 4 I always tried to do. And again, it was the majority of those Success Club points came from recruiting. So that was a little bit easier for me to kind of shift my focus to the business side of things, because once I hit elite and I sort of started to see the income building, my posts, my social media posts were more focused around the business aspect, where my first year was maybe more centered on the fitness side of things. Either way, everybody always went into a challenge group, so that was still a really big part of the business. Now I try to sponsor 4 to 6 coaches. Right now, I'm aiming for 4. I'm like, if I can get through November and sponsor 4 coaches, I will be so happy. But in my big months where I really push hard, and I'm not trying to close on a house, I sponsor probably 6 to 8 coaches, I would say, has been my average this year, my 3rd year. So yeah, and that's not huge numbers in comparison to, your top 10 coaches who are recruiting 30 coaches a month. But I think you also kind of have to figure out what your comfort zone is, push a little bit farther than your comfort zone, obviously. But just how can I really make the experience really great for each new coach that I get started? And so if I personally don't think I could have those one-on-one relationships if I'm sponsoring 10 to 20 coaches a month. I like having that closer knit relationship with my coaches. So I think that there's definitely, an evolvement. Is that a word? Did I just make that up? Part of this business where you grow, and every year you can kind of set a new standard for yourself. And so there was a little while where I was like, yeah, you can be really successful and hit Success Club 5, and you can, but you can be more successful if you're pushing for Success Club 10. Bigger things can happen in a shorter period of time if you're really, really gunning for, those Success Club 10 plus and making it majority of recruiting coaches. Because to me, that's more valuable for my business to really build that depth and build income and volume. So hope that helps.
Yes. Okay, that's all I had. Do you guys feel free to unmute and ask questions if you've thought of any during the talk. Don't be shy.
Don't be scared.
I have a question.
Hi.
I actually am wondering, when you first started in the business and you really started going for your coaches, what were your posts about? I see a lot of the coaches that have been in the business for a long time, and they post about, how long they've been in the business and joining their team. But when you first start, those aren't really things you get to add in there. So how did you really aim towards your coaching and getting new coaches on your team when you first started?
So I'm going to tell you what I've told some of my coaches, because I think that the position you guys are in is actually way more powerful than where I'm at in my business. It's much more relatable when you're making $500 a week. I mean, $500 a week is huge. I mean, that really, like, to anybody, that's like a lot for just like a home business that you're building, and you're the girl that I went to high school with, and you're making $500 a week. Like, cool. If she's doing it, I can do it, you know? And so I won't say any names, but a top coach who's posted in the past about buying a Bentley or paying cash for homes and things like that. To me, that's not quite as relatable as somebody who was able to go to the grocery store and fill up their cart with all organic produce for their family and pay for that with their Beachbody check. To me, that's like, whoa, that's huge. Or taking yourself for a mani-pedi and just being able to say, like, you know, 3 months ago before I was a coach, I was not able to do this, but today I didn't even have to think about going and getting a manicure or pedicure because I've got this additional income, you know, or an income period. So those types of things I think are really powerful. I posted about my daughter being able to take a ballet class. I mean, that was a huge, huge thing for us that we wanted for our kids for a long time. And so to be able to do that was a really big deal. And so posting something like that was huge. Also, I think income posts, and while we've now learned that we have to put the little income disclaimer and all of those things from corporate, but those, when you're in the beginning of your business, are a really big deal. Like I saw Sarah Beasley, I think she's one of maybe Jen Richardson's downline coaches. She did a really cool income progression. And month 17 or 19 or something, she made close to $5,000 in a month. I mean, and so she showed the whole progression. And so there's a point you get to in your business where it's like, ooh, it just gets kind of icky to share those kind of things. And so it gets more tricky to talk about the income, where I think you guys are like, do it. It is so powerful. And so it's so relatable right now. So those are the kind of things that I was trying to share. The groceries, the little extra things that we didn't have to put on a credit card, you know, the trips, all of it. I think all of it is just so powerful. I hope that answers your question.
It does. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure.
That was a great question, Krista. Anybody else? No?
I have a question.
Okay.
My question has to do with supporting, or because I feel like the women that I'm attracting to be coaches are full-time working moms, just like myself. So what tips would you offer to them or to myself?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think it has to do with like your work schedule for sure. Really, I mean, for you and the people you're attracting, I think really, really hitting home the importance of having a designated power hour. And it's hard, like when you're a mom and, I mean, I didn't have a job when I first started, so I could do my power hour whenever. I had 3 little kids at home under my feet all the time. But, you know, I think that really hitting home the importance of having a power hour is going to be really a big deal. And I think that, I mean, the feedback that I've heard about the live power hour, I don't know if you guys have done that as a team yet. I'm planning on it this month. I think it's so smart. And so you could do that, Daniela, you could do that with your coaches, where after work, you know, you guys jump on Zoom and you do your power hour together, and you just kind of nail it down and get it done an hour together. Bring your wine, you know, after you put the kids to bed. Like those types of things really, I think, would make team bonding really fun, but also show them like, whoa, I just did so much in that hour. And if I just did that every day, imagine the compound effect that's going to happen. So, but yeah, those types of things where it's just sort of working with that person one-on-one. Like, what does your schedule look like? Okay, could you do a half an hour during your lunch break from your phone, where you just, you know, you're at your lunch, you're eating your food, return some messages for half an hour, then get back to your desk, and then you've got the next part of your power hour when you get home. Could you do that? And then that person can say, yeah, I could do that. And then you can kind of check in with them and hold them accountable. Hey, how was power hour today on your lunch break? All of those things. I think it's powerful to be able to have a busy schedule. And I personally think that you have to be a little bit more organized probably. but I think being more organized would be really beneficial. Like I could probably take some tips from that. So yeah,
Thank you.
question. Yeah, for sure.
Okay, anyone else? No? Going once, going twice? All right. Well, Stephanie, thank you so much for taking time from your family today and doing this call with us. And I know it's recorded, and all the other girls that couldn't make it on will definitely tune in. If they have any questions, they can comment below and we'll get those answered. But I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Thanks for having me, you guys.
All right. Guys, have a good evening. Bye.